Hello everyone and welcome to a game I've been waiting to show for a very long time. As you know, the two of them, and by two of them I mean Rashid Nezhmetdinov and Mikhail, have played 4 games altogether, 4 classical games in their entire life, and we've shown 3 of them so far. So before you check out this game, if you're new to chess or maybe just joining the channel, the first 3 links in the description below will be the 3 games I've already made a video on regarding 2 of these gentlemen. So check out those 3 videos first before watching this one, because well, it's very important, and I mentioned a lot about their friendship, about what they did together, about how Nezhmetdinov helped Misha during his World Chess Championship match against Botvinnik in 1960. So I don't want to repeat myself. If you guys are interested in that, first 3 links in the description below, do check it out. And also a very special 4th link for older subscribers. I'm sure you know what it is. It is a short documentary on Rashid Nezhmetdinov by Jessica Fisher, so do check that out as well. Now, that being said, why I saved this one for last. So this is the last game we'll be showing between these 2 gentlemen, unless, you know, history uncovers more of them, maybe some friendly games or something like that. But like we said in the previous videos, Rashid had the white pieces in all 4 games against Misha. And when we're talking about chess and attacking chess in particular, there is no one greater than the magician from Riga. However, except in this particular matchup, when he faces Rashid Nezhmetdinov, Nezhmetdinov is the attacker, well. No one attacks better than Nezhmetdinov. Even the great attacking style of the Pirate of Riga pales in comparison to Rashid Nezhmetdinov. And I know this sounds very weird to you if you're just joining us here on the channel or in the chess world in general, but it is the way it is. And this game is very special because, well, I'm just going to show it to you, and then you're going to tell me how you enjoyed it. So like I said, do check out the previous games if you already checked them out. Let's check out the game. So Nezhmetdinov opens with e4, and for those of you who are interested a little bit more about this game, it was played in 1959 in the USSR Championship in Tbilisi. So let's check it out. Features the Sicilian Khan variation. So e4, c5, we have knight to f3, e6 now, and the d4, captures, and now a6. So the Khan variation of the Sicilian, similar to the Najdorf. However, there's no knight c3, knight f6. Whoa, knight c3, knight f6, and these pawns are here. So different but similar. And here we have knight to c3. We have queen to c7. The queen is very safe now on c7 because the a6 and a6 and e6 pawns prevent the knight from harassing the queen. And white goes a3, prevents black from nicely developing with bishop to b4. We have knight to c6 by Nezhmetdinov and by Tal, and bishop to e3. And now we transpose into the Taimanov variation of the Sicilian. We have knight to f6 and bishop to e2. And this is, even by today's standards, as I'm making this video in 2020, considered the absolute main line. But here we have sort of a deviation. Bishop to d6. Today bishop to e7 is almost guaranteed. So bishop to d6 was played in the game, and now comes queen to d2. Nezhmetdinov says we're either gonna castle kingside or queenside, but there's time for castling. We have bishop to e5. Misha now wants to trade off pieces here, as he knows who he's playing against, and f4. Nezhmetdinov even encourages this. We have bishop captures on d4, bishop captures, and another capture on d4. Captures. So now Nezhmetdinov centralizes his queen, and already we have the first sacrifice of the game. Nezhmetdinov is offering the f4 pawn. Now here you could capture it, or you could ignore it and just castle to safety, and then, you know, see what happens next. Probably e5, attacking the knight, grabbing more space, and so on. However, Misha not want to back down from a challenge. He says, okay, let's see what you got. Queen captures on f4. And here you could bring a rook into the game nicely with tempo, with an attack on the queen. However, Nezhmetdinov chooses g3 instead. And now, okay, the queen is under attack. What do? Queen back to c7. Another option is h6, but it looks a bit passive. However, from h6 you would be Wow, preventing the king from castling. But okay, Misha retreats with the queen to c7, and now e5, challenging the knight here. The knight has to go somewhere. We have knight to d5, and here we have another capture. Captures on d5, e captures on d5, and now again Rashid could choose to capture on d5, and it's not a problem. You could capture, then we have queen captures on c2, and we could see a very strong attack here from Nezhmetdinov with bishop to c4, threatening queen captures here, and after castle you get another castles by white, and now you have really big problems with this f pawn. For example, if queen goes back to g6, you can simply capture it, because whatever you do, let's say you capture with the queen, just queen e4, and you're gonna lose a lot here. For example, if d5 blocking this so you don't lose the queen, e captures on d6 en passant, and whatever happens here, you're just gonna capture it. So instead, after rook captures on f7, black would have to capture with a rook, but now you just add another defender, the rook is pinned, and black's entire position crumbles. So queen captures on d5 is in fact a great move, and black would have to be very careful here. As you've seen, there probably isn't enough time to grab the pawn and still survive. Maybe with some insane engine play, but for a human, not so much. So just maybe castling would be safer here. So instead, after this e captures on d5 by Misha, we don't have queen captures, but rather Rashid castles queen side. So still giving up more material, and Misha now goes b5. He grabs more space here. He wants to play bishop here, rook to c8, and attack Rashid's king on c1. However, rook h to f1, just putting rooks on open files, this is what Rashid does best. And there is one game where this position has been reached, but 4 years after this game, where just bishop to where castles was played. However, here we have bishop to b7, and it is as of move 17 that this position has never been repeated again. So as of this point, it's a completely unique game, and here you could do a lot of things. You could try a lot of stuff. You could play queen b4, maybe prevent black from castling kingside, but Rashid does what Rashid does best, and he sacrifices more material. Not sacrifice actually, because the g7 pawn is under attack, but it does offer a very promising game. And Misha can still prevent all of this. He can still just castle to safety and say, okay, I don't really care, you can capture on f7, and we're gonna have some trades here. For example, captures, king captures, and let's say queen h4 going after the pawn, but after the king defends, let's say bishop d3 threatening to capture here, h6, and black defends well. So this would be very much possible for Misha to play something like this. However, it's a passive position. White, of course, is better, and he doesn't like this. So after this daring e6 move and threatening the g7 pawn, Misha does, well, the brave thing. He captures on e6, and he says, again, let's see what you got. So here, queen captures on g7, and now comes rook to f8. And here, well, something very special happens here, but we're just gonna skip that and come back to it later. So here I just want to show you what happens if you castle queenside. If you castle queenside, just rook captures on f7, and black's position is pretty terrible. However, Misha played rook to f8 here, and now Nezhmetdinov played bishop to h5, and you can see that now castling would be a bit dangerous, because there's a triple attack on the f7 pawn here. However, that's exactly what Misha does. He castles queenside, and he says, okay, you're more than welcome to go after the f7 pawn. However, if you capture this, I'm gonna capture, and after, let's say, the queens are traded off, captures, and captures, you don't get to win anything, because I'm just gonna play e5. I get a beautiful pass pawn here, and my d pawn is nicely protected twice, so you cannot capture it. And the material on the board is equal with you know, good play from both sides, and most likely we would see a draw, because black has this pawn. White would probably be able to create a pass pawn on the king side, and well, anything could happen, but it would be a draw. Retreating with bishop to g4 is very interesting, as it offers a lot of interesting possibilities, but we're gonna talk about this idea afterwards. Here it doesn't work, because just f5, and there's just no good continuation here. So instead, after Misha's queenside castle, we have rook d to e1, and here Nezhmetdinov has some tricks up his sleeve, but of course Misha realizes what they are, and he goes king to b8. And now Misha says, okay, you can just capture on f7. I didn't really achieve anything here, it's not much. But if you wait, I'm probably going to put my rook here and put some pressure here. So here we do have rook captures on f7, rook captures, and now queen captures. And here bishop back to c8, saying, okay, we can trade queens. I have my e6 pawn nicely defended, and we play this endgame. And as Rashid sees this is happening, he starts bringing his king into the game, as you know, you have to have an active king in an endgame. So Misha says, okay, queen a5 check. If you go any further up the board, I'm just going to capture your rook. So here Rashid has to go back, and Misha also goes back. Queen to c7. We have queen to f6 now. And here comes queen to d6, guarding against any weird captures you might pile up on this pawn here. So queen to d6, now the queen is nicely centralized, and if white doesn't hurry up, maybe ideas like b4 are coming. So here queen to d4, stopping any pawn pushes, and the queen is just nicely placed here. e5 is covered twice, this is covered twice, and not a lot for Misha to do here. So he goes rook to f8. And now comes rook to e5, just grabbing more space here, and bishop to d7. We have bishop back all the way to e2, and now bishop back to e8 by Misha. The bishop would be very nicely placed on this diagonal. So here bishop to d3. Here c4 might seem like a good idea because the queen is undefended on d6, but it doesn't work because after captures and captures you can just play anything here. You don't have to react to this. You can play rook f3, and now it's just a very weird position for white. I mean, there's not all that much to do. Bishop to a4 check could be an idea. So for example, if you push the rook back, then you can go rook to b3, and it's a weird position for white to play. So instead, not allowing the positioning of the bishop here, we have bishop to d3 by Nezhmetdinov and king to b7. Now Misha also starts bringing the king into the game. We have rook to g5, hoping to get some action here along the 7th rank, and now rook to f7. Of course, Misha stops this. Queen to e5, now offering a queen trade, and here Misha obliges. We have captures, captures, and rook to e7, guarding the e6 pawn. King d2, and now comes king to c6 with king to e3 and king to d6. Now putting pressure on the rook here, king to d4, and only now bishop to g6. We have a trade of bishops, captures, and now rook to g5, going after the isolated g pawn, and the white is still hoping to create a pass pawn here by pushing g4, h4, h5, whereas black will try and play in the center. So here you could go rook to g7. However, if rook to g7 right away, then h4 is very strong because h5 is coming, and well, you're not going to be able to capture here. So there's a different idea, e5 with check. So what do you do here? King back to e3, Nezhmetdinov has to step back a little bit, and only now king to g7. And now you've pushed back the white king, and now h4 is playable. However, it is much different. Nezhmetdinov goes for h4, but now king e6 with h5, and now king to f6, putting pressure on the rook, and now Nezhmetdinov trades everything. Rook captures, we have rook captures, h captures, king captures, and just b3. And this is where the magic happens. Here, Misha plays king to f5, so you can see that he has a passed pawn here. Rashid has a passed g pawn, and the material on the board is completely equal, and this game is completely equal with perfect play. Of course, it's a draw, and it's very hard to make a mistake here. However, this is exactly where Nezhmetdinov makes his mistake, and here, like, he could play c3, he could just waste moves with the king, with king to f3, but for some reason he played c4 here, and well, it was in this position that Rashid and Nezhmetdinov resigned the game, and well, of course, d captures on c4 was played, and here Nezhmetdinov resigned, and this is the only game Misha won against Nezhmetdinov out of the 4 games they played. Which is incredibly interesting because it's hard to understand what he was thinking when he played c4. Probably he thought about the d4 check, then white is winning after king to d3 because he will get another pass pawn. You cannot push the pawn because you lose this pawn. It's gonna be I don't know. he probably thought of this, maybe he was low on time, but this is what Misha said after this. Nej obtained a completely won position, then blundered. This victory did not give me any particular pleasure. And now you might think, but where is this a completely winning position that Misha is talking about? We haven't seen such a thing in this game. But that's exactly why I told you that we're gonna go back to this one position, one very special position. Here, after d captures on e6 and the queen captures here, we had rook to f8. And now I didn't ask you to pause the video because I wanted to show you how the game unrolled, and then I'm gonna ask you to pause the video now. So pause the video now and win the game for Nezhmetdinov while I give you a couple of seconds, as this is truly a remarkable idea. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding a move that Nezhmetdinov almost played but didn't. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's bishop to g4. Rashid played bishop to h5, but bishop to g4 is in fact the move that well, makes it impossible for black to make a move. It seems like a silly idea. But for example, if you try castling here, then you get just the very unpleasant bishop captures on e6 check. Look at this, just amazing. Bishop captures on e6 check, and you're gonna lose everything here. Like there's a triple attack on the f7 pawn. You're gonna lose a lot of material, and white is winning. And if you actually capture the bishop, then then the problem is queen captures on f8. And this is such a Nezhmetdinov position that it's incredible that Rashid didn't find this, because now you're up material, and if the queen is accepted, then you get rook captures on f8 with check, king to d7, and now rook to f7 with check. King has to move, doesn't really matter, you're gonna get capture here, and now it's 5 pawns against 5 pawns, but the rook, of course, will beat a bishop. So bishop to g4, an incredibly strong move, prevents black from castling. The black king is forced to remain in the center of the board, but there is no good defense here. Like black could limp on for a few more moves, but it's not going to be playable. For example, if you go sorry, not that, we already tried that. For example, rook to c8, you can threaten checkmate. Of course, black can also go on the counter attack, but just c3, and there is no move. You don't have this, you don't have this, everything is covered. The bishop is looking very weird there because the pawn is on d5, and there just isn't a lot here. For example, queen to e7, you still capture on e6. This is insane. For example, here f captures, here rook captures on f8, you have to capture with the queen, and then queen captures on b7, again leaves black in a position that you don't want to defend. The king is bare naked here, you know, wide open. You get the rook into the game, and it's just going to be incredibly difficult for black to defend this, if at all possible. So maybe an engine with surgical precision might be able to do it, but in those days, two attackers such as Nezhmetdinov and Misha, they would not play such defensive moves, and you know the game would end. So after this rook to f8, it's really incredible that Nezhmetdinov picked up the bishop, and he went for it, but then he just went one square too far, and it didn't happen. But maybe that's what had to happen. Maybe Caïssa smiled on Misha that day, and she said, Misha, you will not lose to Nezhmetdinov 4-0. You will have one win against him, and this is how it happened. It wasn't a spectacular win by Misha. First, Nezhmetdinov missed a brilliancy, and then he blundered with that c4 move in a completely drawn position. So I mean, it's a shame that bishop to g4 wasn't played, but again, okay, at least one victory for Misha. And I always mention Nezhmetdinov got the white pieces in all 4 games, and when attacker plays an attacker, that does tend to matter who gets the white pieces. But like I said, this game doesn't even begin to explain how crazy both of their attacking styles are. So do check out, learn all you can about Rashid Nezhmetdinov. Do check out the 3 links in the description below. There are the 3 games I've already covered between the 2 of them, as they're all the games are pretty insane. And do check out the documentary on Rashid. It's a very short one, like 15 minutes per video. There are like 3 videos, so like 45 minutes. You will learn a lot, and you will gain a lot of vast knowledge, and you will maybe start to appreciate the genius behind the Tatar master that is Rashid Nezhmetdinov. So yeah, that's the game. I do hope you enjoyed it. We're not gonna be doing any special things for this channel reaching 800,000 subscribers, as you know, the situation in the world is as it is, and we're not gonna be inviting any guests or having any parties. But maybe when the channel reaches 1 million, you know, the situation in the world will improve, and we're gonna be able to, you know, do something, have maybe a celebration, invite some people, have a tournament, and something like that. But yeah, I've been saving this game for a very long time, so I do hope you enjoyed it. And that's it. We have no more games between Nezhmetdinov and Tal, and this is the last one. So unless they uncover some secret games, which I hope they do, that's it for now. So yeah, once again, I do hope you enjoyed it. Check out the links in the description below. I would like to thank Edgar Rustica, Tamas Gal, Sergio Coelho, David Kimura, and From Welsh for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. And thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon. Continuing the coverage of the Morphe saga, checking up on your wonderful suggestions, and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. And do check out the links in the description below. See you soon.